Our objective is to reduce federal spending. As conservatives in the House, that is a top priority of ours because we're haunted by the federal debt. It's $33.6 trillion now, Maria. You address this all the time on your show. We have to keep that in mind always. We want to decrease the woke and weaponized federal government and its apparatuses and reduce federal spending and make sure there's accountability. So all that comes into the equation, all that comes into the debate, and whatever that top line number is, we're going to work very hard to come in beneath it.
The House has passed $95 billion in aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. It now heads to the Senate. The holdup was the funding for Ukraine, which the White House says is crucial to help that country repel the ongoing Russian invasion. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed his thanks to Congress on social media today. Fewer than half of all House Republicans, though, voted for that funding. And now some of them are threatening to oust one of their own, House Speaker Mike Johnson, for allowing that vote in the first place.
And today, what they did when they voted to further fund Ukraine, and they were waving Ukrainian flags around and chanting Ukraine, I don't know what country I'm in anymore. And I think the American people are absolutely shocked and floored by what we witnessed in the House of Representatives today.
Some say, well, we have to deal with our border first. The Ukrainian-Russian border is our border.
Nope.
Said these are not normal times. They're not. The world is destabilized, and it's a tinderbox. It's a dangerous time. Three of our primary adversaries, Russia and Iran and China, are working together, and they're being aggressors around the globe. And they're a global threat to our prosperity and our security. Their advance threatens the free world, and it demands American leadership. If we turn our backs right now, the consequences could be devastating. So this afternoon, the House acted, and we sent over to the Senate, and it will be transmitted shortly, our supplemental national security legislation. And make no mistake, this is not a blank check like the Senate supplemental bill was. This is very different. Instead of taking the path of least resistance and bringing up the Senate supplemental on the House floor, or just allowing a discharge petition to pursue, which would have had the same outcome, we gave our members a voice. We gave them a chance. We gave them a better process and ultimately a much better policy.
You see, the United States taxpayer has already sent $113 billion to Ukraine, and a lot of that money is unaccounted for. This is a continuance of a sick business model that the American government continues. The federal government continues to fund the military-industrial complex, and this is a business model that requires Congress to continue to vote for money, to continue to fund foreign wars, and this is a business model the American people do not support. They don't support a business model built on blood and murder and war in foreign countries, while this very government does nothing to secure our border. The American people are over $34 trillion in debt, and the debt is rising by over $40 billion every single night while we all sleep. But yet nothing is done to secure our border or reduce our debt. Inflation has driven out of control. Americans are suffering every single day. They can hardly afford their grocery bills. They can hardly afford gas in their car. They can hardly afford rent. And now mortgage payments are well over $3,000, where they were only just over $1,700 3 years ago. The youngest generation, young adults, don't even think they're going to be able to buy a home in their lifetime. And today in Congress, the most important thing that this body thinks should be done is to send another $61 billion to a war in Ukraine that the American people by 70% do not support. Mind you, this comes on the very heels of Monday being April 15th, tax day, where every single American had to scrounge up their money and send their dollars in to the IRS. Or some of them had to file extensions because they weren't ready and didn't have the money to pay their taxes. But today, this body says the most important thing we can do, no, is not reduce spending. That's not it. Not to do anything to drive down inflation. Oh no, we can't do that for the American people. It's not to secure our own border that is invaded every single day, by people from over 160 different countries. No, don't secure the American border. Let everyone in. We have over 1.8 million known gotaways. We don't know who these people are. And yet you have members of this body talking big and tough about, oh, we have to defeat Russia. Oh, we have to protect Ukraine. But yet all of you are unwilling to protect the American citizens that pay your paycheck, pay the light bills in this building, and pay for this entire federal government. For what? For nothing.
You called him Tubby, it sounds like.
Actually, I said Kick Rock's Tubby, yeah. So the reason being, Matt Gaetz is a bully. Chip Roy's a bully. Bob Good's a bully. And the only way to stop a bully is to push back hard. The majority of the majority, the vast majority of the majority, is sick and tired of these high school antics.
The only thing I gleaned from it is that Mr. Van Orton is not a particularly intelligent individual.
Democrats brought a bunch of Ukrainian flags on the floor. I don't think that's a good idea. Get the American flag on there. That should be the only flag there. We passed some things today. H.R. 2, which is a watered-down version of our H.R. 2, actually, reimburses states for costs incurred securing the border, and it makes the border a lot tougher and implements a lot of Trump's plans that the president took out that stopped a lot of the illegal immigration. Peace Through Strength Act that had TikTok in it, stronger rules on fentanyl, the Indo-Pacific Security Supplemental Appropriations Act, $8.12 billion for Taiwan. Again, this is passed under an emergency type situation, but where is the emergency in this? Emergency spending, of course, is exempted from our budget cap, so it's kind of a gimmick that keeps it from adding to our debt, but it's real. And of course, Ukrainian aid, I voted against that. $61.7 billion to protect their border, and that would have protected our border, we think, anywhere from 6 to 12 times that amount of money. $481 million in it for refugee and infant assistance, so they'll be coming over here. $60 million in there for diplomatic programs. USA, $39 million USAID, which is a corrupt organization. $7 billion economic support fund, and of course $1.5 billion assistance for Europe, Eurasia, and Central Asia, and the Ukrainian policy. I voted no. There's several $100 million in there for World Bank to do with whatever they want. It has nothing to do with Ukraine. I guess one of the more troubling bills was the Israeli aid, but unfortunately it had about $6 billion in there going to Hamas, we think, through these NGOs, non-government organizations. So it's a rough day for the taxpayers, $96 billion that we do not have, we're borrowing. So anyway, we'll keep fighting. Thank y'all for sending me here.
I think it was President Reagan said, we're from the government, we're here to help.